Nutty is a green squirrel with candy on his face and torso, and he loves the taste of anything sweet. Nutty has had multiple different looks since he was first introduced. I will be shown every time that he is visually changed throughout the episodes, either by his normal design changing or if he is wearing something different. Before we start with his first episode, I need to talk about some other things. I'm going to start with Banjo Frenzy. Now you might be thinking, why? Because Nutty is not in it. Wow, look at this early version of Giggles, because her tail has a swirl like Nutty, who is a squirrel. And the version of Giggles that we got in the first episode of season 1 does not have it. But it seems like that Giggles was changed to a chipmunk, and her swirly tail was removed so that another character could have these characteristics. Which leads to his concept art. If you look closely, you may have noticed that he was originally a deer character just like Mime, due to the antlers, tail and ears, and he also would have had a cone-shaped party hat. But he was changed to a squirrel with that swirly tail that Giggles had in Banjo Frenzy. He was also given other features like the candy and the marking on the top of his head, but I don't know if his belly marking or his crazy eyes are new additions, or if he already had them before being turned into a squirrel. Next we go to this concept art, which must be the final design, before being given colour and given animation. Nutty first appears in Nothing Wrong with Candy, but before the actual episode starts, his season 1 pop-up first appears in the intro with his iconic shades of green and his different coloured candy. In the episode itself, he does not have a candy apple. He has the swirly lolly on his forehead and the candy cane on his cheek. After shaking due to the sugar rush from the swirly lollipop, the rest of the candy comes off him, allowing us to see what he looks like without any candy. Next in Nothing But the Tooth, he has the same design as in the intro for Nothing Wrong with Candy, but now with a bib that seems to be covering up his candy cane. In Sweet Ride, Nutty's candy cane can be seen on the side of his torso, under one arm, but when we first see him, the handle of the candy cane is really far into his armpit. Before I go to season 2, in the volume 1 First Blood DVD, you can find Nutty's Party Smoochie, but in it he is missing his candy cane on his torso. In Out of Sight Out of Mime, which is part of season 2, you can see Nutty with a party hat while dragging a sack full of candy. But he only had one candy, which is his pink and red lollipop. In Class Act, Nutty is missing his swirly lollipop and his candy cane, just like in Out of Sight Out of Mime. But what is interesting is that his candy apple has returned and now has a new design. In I Get a Trick Out of You, he can be seen wearing a cone-shaped party hat, but he seems like he is missing all of his candy. In ICU, Nutty has his new candy apple design from Class Act, but unlike in that episode, he now has his swirly lollipop and the candy cane on his torso, making this, in my opinion, his best design from seasons 1 and 2. Additionally, the season 1 intro for Sweet Ride was completely changed with a new season 2 style, and this updated look for Nutty with the 4 types of candy and the new design for his candy apple was included, but I don't know why this intro was changed. Also in ICU, he can be seen with pockets, and he is also fat after drinking too much out of the slushy machine. It remains to be seen, he's wearing glasses with eyebrows, a nose and a mustache, just like Groucho Marx. And later on, he is a zombie. We now enter the TV series. Apart from Nutty just having an updated look, he also has a marking going down the back of his head. And the first time we see him with his new design is in the wrong side of the tracks. In Party Animal, he can be seen with a red and pink stripy hat. In Take a Hike, he drinks a lot of honey through a straw, causing him to get very fat. He at first is missing his lollipops and his candy cane, but this is a goof, due to them appearing not long after. But also in this episode, he has another change that is very easy to miss. In only the first shot, he can be seen with a different swirly lollipop on his tail, which before this he was only seen holding it in his hand. Here are some examples. At the beginning of Chew Said a Mouthful, Nutty's standard TV design is seen without candy on his body. Later on, he breaks his jaw and Lumpy wires his jaws shut. After Nutty cuts the wires, Lumpy puts a metal mask on his face that prevents his jaw from moving. You see what developed, he is a grocer, wearing a green apron. He is seen with a surfing bib in Wipeout, but when he's near a tide pool, the candy cane is on the front of his bib. In the TV series Volume 3 DVD, in the bonus features menu, there's a small picture of Nutty with a multicoloured afro. Next in A Sucker for Love, which is part of Season 3, Nutty imagines being dressed as a groom and marries a gumball machine. But after injuring himself, Moore stitches him up and adds plasters. In part 2, he is again injured, and he imagines marrying a heart-shaped box of chocolates, while being a groom like before. Later, he is seen with a green fedora with a purple stripe. He is also seen with a stubble. He is wearing a stripy inmate shirt and hat, and towards the end, he also imagines being old with wrinkles, and has a large beard with candy stuck in it. In the episode and game called False Alarm, after injuring himself with too much candy, Sniffles covers Nutty in bandages. He is then put into a room and he goes crazy. After calming down, he can be seen with a tie, a shirt collar, and what I assume is a wig. After becoming addicted to video games, he can be seen with two different controllers, one on his forehead and one on his cheek, and something that looks like a Game Boy on his other cheek. In Wrath of Khan, he is dressed like Batman, with a candy cane covering a part of his cloak, but after Giggles enters the room on fire, you can see him now with a pass around his neck, with his candy cane behind it. Additionally, there is another goof where his head is already burnt before the fire even gets to him. We now go to all work and no play. It's hard to see, but Nutty has a new design for his swirly lollipop, which it can be seen better in Can't Poke an Eye Out. Its design has been simplified and has a shine on the side, making it look more 3D. Making this the last time Nutty had a unique look. The last time that we ever see Nutty is in Season 5, also known as Still Alive, in the episode called Going Out With a Bang, where he eats fireworks due to him thinking that it's candy, and gets an upset stomach, causing him to have a painful time in the outhouse. He then lights a match, causing him to get launched into the sky. He explodes and the embers form to make his face, making this his last appearance in the show.